Let me just take the name. Why should I be shy? Ravish goes on about Godi Media, right? He goes on criticizing everybody. Or you have News Laundry, who every single episode of theirs they're pulling down Arnab Goswami, Navika, all these people, right? And now they've taken off on Aaj Tak also because at the conclave somebody said something. So okay, so you go on demonizing it. Tell me one thing: when Ravish was in NDTV, didn't NDTV get the same kind of access that today probably Arnab or Navika get?
They did.
They did. At that time, did you find Arnab was of course in NDTV, but then he moved down and he was. Did you see Aaj Tak or Rajat Sharma or the other channels which were there at that time, ZTV and all these anchors who were there in those channels? Did they call NDTV Godi Media? No, they didn't. They had access, they covered it. But when you take away the access, you get this whole bunch of bitter journalists who today don't have jobs. Not because they are, I shouldn't say that they are bad journalists, just their bitterness, continuous bitterness, has made them useless as journalists. People don't believe them because okay, fine, he has fabulous subscribers for his YouTube channel, but it's an ecosystem which is watching him. That's it.
Yeah.
Because he's constantly attacking the prime minister. So if you want to know what is wrong with the government, go in and watch that channel. But if you want some kind of a balance, that's not where you'll go.
Right.
And I don't have a problem with his journalism or what he's saying. Very good. You want to do just that. That is your niche. Do it. There is scope for all kinds of journalists in this world, in this country. But to label the others, I think, is extremely wrong because you yourself were there at one point of time.
Right.
If you were not, if you were somewhere in middle and you didn't do that kind, sorry. And if he says that he wasn't, that's also wrong.
So why was his access taken away from them then?
So that's a whole big story of what happened with NDTV.
Yeah.
So when that got over, every NDTV journalist had access. It's not just the. Do you think that they were the only journalists in those days? No. And I was working with them. I accepted it that they have access. They could go anywhere. I'll give you an example that we were in during Vajpayee's time. We had gone to Islamabad and we were covering the talks which were happening between the Indian Prime Minister and the Pakistani Prime Minister, and there was we didn't have those live views on, so it wasn't as if we could do a satellite. You couldn't do that. There were only two ways of sending your visuals, which was via PTV, which is the Pakistan television, or you went to the Indian government had its own uplinking thing, they had taken their own communication.
Right.
So you could do it like that. You could book a satellite or whatever. There was a complication. So obviously, PTV wasn't going to send Indian footage, wasn't going to do that. Why would Pakistan do that, right? So how do you send it? So we had to book through VSNL, which was the Videsh Sanchar Nigam Limited.
Satellite scene था कुछ.
उन्होंने वो अपने satellite equipment लेके गए थे.
Okay.
So they will do it. You have to book it with them. They would do it only after Prime Minister's coverage was over. And then they would beam ours. So it was very complicated and it was very expensive. So, this thought, should we send it via the Wagah border and, those kind of things. But NDTV, no problem at all. They took their whatever they had shot, they took it to the Information and Broadcasting Minister's house, over which there was a satellite dish, and they could beam everything.
In the INB Minister of Pakistan.
Of Pakistan.
That's crazy.
That's the kind of access that NDTV had. You tell me today one channel in India which had that kind of access. Forget about access in India. They had access even in Pakistan. They had access in Washington, D.C. When we went to cover a prime ministerial visit in the White House, the NDTV correspondent did not have, I'm not going to say his or her, but did not have the credentials that were needed to go inside because we had to register in advance, etc., etc. And the security said, no, you cannot go in. There were a bunch of 3 or 4 people.
And they have strict protocols, stricter than most countries, yeah.
Oh my God, the Secret Service will not allow even their Secretary of State to go in and their staff if they don't have their credentials inside the White House. You have to have all your IDs, everything checked, your bag screened. and obviously because they've lost so many presidents. So we went in because we had our credentials. All of us had to go through that entire process, and we could go in. The NDTV person didn't have, right? And she insisted that my OB van will go inside the White House. I want to do a satellite direct. And they were like, you don't even have credentials to go inside. No, the ambassador was called, the ambassador came in, and she did a live broadcast from there, from the lawns of the White House. That's the kind of access that NDTV got. And how did that happen? Because the ambassador was spoken to and it happened, right? Now you tell me, do you think that Arnab, Navika, Rahul Kanwal, Anjana Om Kashyap, any of them have that kind of access today? Do you think any of them can call an Amit Shah or a Modi and tell them, speak to Biden and allow my OB-van inside? No. Pehli baat to they'll laugh her out here. Forget about talking to Biden. They'll laugh out Rahul Kanwal to say ki tum apne aap karo na. Why are you telling us? That's the media's work to do. If you have access to it.
So you're saying that a lot of journalists were put in their place?
Yes. The BJP doesn't exactly like the media much, and they don't make any bones about that, which is good. Okay, media and the journalists and politicians should not be friends. No, that's not we can be friendly, we can be civil. We should not be friends. No, because I need to report on you. You need to put me down at times if I may be going on reporting about you, which you will not like. So how can we be friends? We can't be. We can be friendly. We can be polite. We can be genial. We can disagree, but in a genial manner. But we should not be friends. That line was crossed long ago, before this government came to power. And this government came to power like Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah make no bones of the fact that the BJP won the election despite the media. They don't like the media. They respect the media, that's your job to do. So for a certain kind of elite media in this city, that is difficult to fathom. That why don't they like us? We are very likable people. We are the original inhabitants of this city. We know how the city functions. You are outsiders. The BJP changed that.
And so this outsider status that they labeled on other journalists, does that come from literal out-of-towners, or is it?
No, when I say outsiders, I meant the BJP.
Okay.
The BJP under Modi and Shah were considered outsiders as compared to even the BJP under Advani and Vajpayee, who were very much the Delhi, not born, but Delhi kind of BJP.
पूरा पॉडकास्ट देखने के लिए पिन कमेंट पे क्लिक करें.